Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending on where you are. We would like to warmly welcome you to the CAREC Women's Empowerment Online Platform's guest speaker series. Today, we gather to explore a topic of critical importance, he for she, the importance of a diverse and inclusive gender dialogue with Leyla Seyidzade. So we all know gender equality is not just a women's issue. It is a challenge and opportunity for all of us. The he for she movement emphasizes that men have a pivotal role in advancing gender equality by engaging in open and inclusive dialogue. When men actively participate in these discussions, in these conversations, they help dismantle stereotypes. They support diversity and also contribute to creating more just and equitable society. So today we're very privileged to have with us Ms. Leyla Seyidzade. She is outstanding, very remarkable leader and advocate for gender equality. She has dedicated her career to fostering innovation, empowering women, and driving positive social change. As the ambassador for the Women in Tech global movement in Azerbaijan, and she's also a TV anchor of the Female Factor show on the CBC Azerbaijan. Ms. Seidzadeh brings with her wealth of experience and very interesting insights. So her diverse background in communications, social entrepreneurship, corporate social responsibility, spanning over 20 years across Azerbaijan, Turkey, and New Zealand, which makes her an inspiring figure in our shared journey towards equality. So today we will delve into the critical question: how do we get more men into the room to participate in these vital gender equality conversations? How can we foster truly inclusive dialogue that embraces and also empowers every voice? So let me stop here without further ado. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Leyla Seyidzade. We're very much looking forward to your insight, Leyla, and thank you very much for accepting this invitation. So we're really hopeful to see how and hear from you your views on how we can build partnerships across gender, break down barriers, and lead together towards a better, brighter, and more equitable future. So thank you so much again. So over to you, Leyla.
Hello, everyone. Dear guests, Zulfia, thank you for your invitation. I'm very honored to be here and very happy to engage on this topic. As I mentioned before, this is my favorite topic. But it's not always favorite for everyone. So I was very happy when you let me choose the topic and accepted then this one. And I hope that today we will have very honest conversation and presentation on the one of the painful, actually, I would say, topics and hot topics in the topic of gender equality, not women empowerment only, but gender equality in general. So again, greetings. And first of all, I want to start our information session today with the video that was produced by my organization, which is Women in Tech. And I kindly ask our team to share it, and then we will continue. Yes, enjoy. Okay, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this very different approach to the topic of women empowerment. We started this time with kids, and the main message of this video is that we actually face with the ceilings starting day one, and also we don't realize it. And the thing is that it's not just a and this is the world which we share with men, and it's not possible to remove the ceilings alone. And of course it's not very directly connected to our today's topic in terms of the communication, he for she communication, but I just wanted to remind once again everyone that it still remains a big issue, the lack of opportunities for women, and it touches impacts each and every level and age, and that's why we need to start collaborate early to succeed and remove this ceiling together. It's not just a women's job to remove it. So now let's move to our presentation, please. And it's mainly today we are focused on the role of men, in gender equality. And just a second, I will open the presentation for me in English in parallel. Yes, so we are focused on the topic of role of men in advancing of gender equality. And this topic is quite often overlooked. Also, we say that it's not, we try to involve men, we make sure that we have shared panels, and sometimes we even delve into this topic. But honestly, the reality is that at the end of the day, somehow it turns to the meetings where only men, where only women are sitting and discussing gender equality. It's only women in the panel, and it's only just formal invitations for role models and for people to come and to for women to come and to say something, whereas all the rest of the event is usually occupied by men. And I actually I want us to have very honest discussion today. It's very much focused and it's very much based on my own experience and um, and the statistics. But for the statistics, you can always, of course, reverse to the internet, but real case situations are very specific. Real life situations is something different. So I kindly ask everyone who is here to be active and stay engaged, and share their own thoughts and perspectives on the topic as we move through, as we go. And if you have your own cases, if the topic relates to you, and if you have something to share, please put it proactively in the chat part. Also, it may not become a part of our conversation during the Q&A session. That will very much help me in my work of bringing men into this dialogue, because it's kind of part of the commitment of organization I represent, and it's also part of my vision, my personal vision. So now, can we please have a next slide? Yes. So, why men matter in gender equality? First of all, men hold influential positions, still are decision makers, and this haven't changed much. Because there is a saying like the climbing through the career path is like climbing the mountain, because the higher you go, the less oxygen you have. So the higher you move, the less women you see. And in some industries, it comes to the 1%, like including, by the way, banking sector. So, and that's why we very much depend on men. But the problem is that mainly lots of programs and lots of programs and projects are designed in a way that we influence women from down to top, totally forgetting about men who are decision makers. Men hold 73% of managerial roles, which perfectly reflects what I said. And engaging men challenges stereotypes and promotes inclusivity. The thing is that as a communication specialist, I also deliver regularly public speaking and public speaking training and public speaking course at university. I also teach at university, and the part of my teaching is focusing on stereotypes, on the cultural differences. And unfortunately, our stigmas and stereotypes that we have we have in our minds, they are not changing as fast as our progress is changing, as these programs are implemented. So still, both for women and men, whenever we hear men speaking on any topic, we perceive men as experts. We perceive men as experts more than women. It happens unconsciously. And that's why having men speaking for gender equality, for women issues, is very important, because even us women, we perceive men as better experts than women. Can we please change the? Okay. So a little bit of statistics. Global gender gap to 223, only 68% of the global gender gap has been closed. So there is a long way to go. When we say that we are celebrating 8th of March, the International Women's Day, and overall, like the whole March is International Women's Month, and when we kind of have different activities like women in ICT, which is in April, women in science in February, and etc. and so on. The thing is that it's not always a good thing to have all these dates. One of the concepts says that it's not a good thing, actually, because what we need to do as a world, not to have more and more days for women in the year, but we have to work on focusing on closing this gender gap and coming to the point when there will be no special days for women to highlight, because we will be in the parity situation. We will have gender equality, and this is how we. There will be no need to have all these days and special dates. Barriers to equality: unequal pay. Women earn 20% less, and there is a lack of representation and discrimination, which was also already mentioned. The thing is that this 20%, sometimes it's closing, it's sometimes getting bigger. So we still play around 20-25%. And we have it in Azerbaijan, we have this problem. And in some, even in some organizations, in some companies, there are two kind of strategic plans. Budgeting, two types of budgeting, in case you hire women and in case you hire men. So for men, it's usually higher, 20, 30, sometimes 35% higher payment than for women. And of course, in more like male kind of professions, as we call them, like STEM, the difference could be even higher. It's not applicable to all countries. As I said, it's like it changes, but mainly with the countries with a traditional approach, that is still the case. And why we are talking about this today? Because these are, as it was mentioned, these are men who are decision makers, and these are men who has the money at the end of the day, who keep the budgets. So that's why engaging men and going from top to down is super important. Women represent only 28% of STEM fields, and we indicate it as an average usually, but actually it's like even less in artificial intelligence field, which is a big problem. And I want to focus on that today, because in AI, it's like 10 to 15%. In cybersecurity, it's even less than 10%. And again, these are all fields dominated by men. And considering the impact and the presence, growing presence of AI in our lives, in our careers, it's very important to get more women into STEM fields, because currently, as we say, the problems that exist in our world, like offline real world, we move it to digital world through artificial intelligence, because machine learning, AI, what are all these tools? This, at the end of the day, yes, it's artificial intelligence, but we feed AI with the information. Without information that is already existing, there would be no AI, right? And AI products. Meaning that currently, in current situation, again, men and with their stereotypes feed the AI with the knowledge, that exists, with the information that exists. And later, we will see this awful consequences when we will have more AI in our lives, like when AI will be the important part of HR selection process, and it's already there. Like we are using AI for the selection process already, uh, and we will use it more. And with all the stigmas and stereotypes that are moved to from the real world to the artificial one, to the digital world, we will continue to face the problems. So that's why, although now we don't have enough women, it's very important to engage men in STEM fields to mind this gap, to ensure that artificial intelligence, machine learning is free of gender stereotypes, and that men are also involved in this process. And yes, so I want to speak about okay, let's also focus on this here. So then it's mentioned that cultural expectations and pressures shape behaviors. So this is, as I said, not the problem of real world now, but also of digital world as well. And why it's important to involve men in all these innovative areas as well, because currently all venture capital holders, the money holders, are almost men, and only 3%, or it's a little bit increased since last year. Only 4% are directed to female created founded startups, meaning that and of course, without any money, there is no any progress and not any presence, and there is no power. So meaning that if there are no if men will not start funding female funded startups, we will see the same disparity and discrimination in the digital world in upcoming years. So will not solve this issue. Technology will make this issue even bigger. So can we move to the next slide, please? Yes. So gender diverse teams are 21% more likely to experience above average profitability. So this is the message that we usually that we usually use when we approach men, because as one of the stereotypes, we say that men are more logic based, not like emotions based, and the best way to engage them and to make them adepts of gender equality and diversity teams is show them the real value and the real profits of these decisions. So that's why communicating this kind of numbers uh, to male decision makers is important, so that they turn to your allies, not the competitors. So that's why we need them to challenge gender-based discrimination in everyday life and encourage diverse work environments. So the thing is, as I mentioned, men are decision makers. So that's why it's important to approach organizations, companies, government bodies from top to down. Because according to my experience, and I worked for business organizations for a long time, for local organizations, for Russian, for organizations with Russian culture, with Turkish culture, like with more traditional, with more traditional, within more traditional societies. Sorry, and what we see that also there are some localized initiatives by active women or some women who are in a management role. Although we try to initiate some activities, let's say, to promote gender equality, but if there is no decision coming from top to down, trust me, this will not work, or this initiative will die somewhere else, like after 2 or 3 gatherings. That's why having men as talking uh, heads, let's say, is very important in these strategies. Uh, for example, even I work now for UNDP as a head of innovation, but even in the organization that is promoting actually gender equality, we still face these issues. Like I will give you some example. There is a we are supposed to promote uh, of course, gender equality. We have to this gender indicators. ADB also has it, and we have to make sure that all this is present in project document when it is initiated. And once there are meetings on this kind of discussions, there are only women leaders, like women leading portfolios. Like there is me doing women in STEM projects, like head of innovation, but we are having hard time to bring men into the room, because for them it's like there is some like your meeting, they call it like your meeting, and and they don't advocate for this kind of activities. They are not present, and that's why usually the portfolios and teams that are managed by this male colleagues are underrepresented on all these meetings, because although the whole organization is kind of living by these principles and this gender equality, all SDG, like SDG number 5, is like kind of part of DNA of the organization. Still, the personal stigmas, personal perceptions, and stereotypes that we have are beyond the policies. Of course, you can push and you can put all the indicators in the performance plan, let's say, but it will still stay as a something very formal as something that you just have to indicate in your project, and then you can go back to your real work full of stereotypes and barriers. So that's why it's very important not just to push men to do something or just to implement policies. It's very important to win the hearts of them, to engage them emotionally. And we will now come to the next slide, which is he for she. This is a perfect campaign, the perfect case study here. So this is reflecting what I just mentioned. So this is initiated by UN Women, the agency that is purely engaged in women issues within a UN system, encouraging men to take action. And the idea is to make sure that global leaders are pledging to remove the barriers. There is a very good statistics that over 2 billion people reached by he for she. When we say billion people, we don't mean just men. And and this is about the men's proactive role in advocating the policy for changes. Of course, UN is a policy focused organization, so that's why policy change is important. But today I want to speak about not just about the official numbers, but about some practices behind this campaign that we also used in our organization. So for a long time, we couldn't understand. We were kind of testing what would be the good entry point, whom we should approach first, so that among men, I mean men groups, so that we can really like have some starting point. Because often you approach and you say like women empowerment, and then you already feel this not the glass ceiling but the glass wall, and the tiredness in the eyes that perfectly communicates you that I have so many important issues to do, and I have to deliver targets to my company, to my organization, and you come and you take my time by something that don't really relate to me. So the best way to approach men, and this campaign perfectly demonstrates it, is to approach men who are fathers of daughters, who have daughters. And the best way is to approach them through like men who have sisters. Of course everyone has mother, but it's like very general. But the best way to approach them is to speak about something that really touched them personally, like even really touch their skin, so very close to their skin, which is usually the world that they would live for their daughters. Okay, so this is the best entry point for for this campaign, and we recruited lots of men through this communication. So I will share one experience that we had as UNDP Azerbaijan, and then we will watch the video from the global campaign. So we organized. We are implementing Women in STEM project for already 3 or 4 years. So we tried different things like. We had mentorship programs. We had some public awareness activities. We organized. We were producing podcasts and etc. and so on, and mainly with women, women role models. And female role models, of course, are also super very important. But I think there will be some other seminars highlighting the role of role models. But we are today for men. So, and we realized that we are still in this 28% of women in STEM, and it's not really moving. And then, after some research and surveys, we understood that we need to engage men, and we need to make men speak for for her, even in this kind of innovative field as STEM. And what we did, we recruited male leaders from the industry, like heads of companies, like deans from some academia, and who, like, for example, founders of successful startups, directors of accelerators, and etc. So these people who are leaders in the STEM fields, but at the same time, they are fathers. And we let them speak to the fathers of the daughters. And this was one of the most emotional and most successful campaigns we had, because we had men in the room finally, and we implemented this project mainly in the rural areas. And Azerbaijan is a traditional society, so it's a traditional country. So if you go for the rural areas, and you would never gather men and let them listen for women trainer, let's say, women coach for 2 hours. So you definitely need men in the room as well, and men as a men presenting, men talking. So the best way was to, so what we did, we brought men and in the room, and we had fathers of the daughters who were interested in STEM, and we explained through men how effectively fathers especially can support their daughters in the through their journey. And the other survey to support this idea, the other survey that we concluded demonstrated that mainly women in STEM, the role models, the successful women specifically in STEM area, claim that they were successful because their fathers, who also were successful in STEM careers, supported them in this journey. So having men ally is very important, not only in the work environment, but this needs to start from day one, like from families. Can we just have our video demonstrated, please?
Inequality of opportunity that is present is probably one of the most harmful things in our society. And I think as a woman, that is probably the hardest thing to get over.
This is why we have to do this from our point of view, from our perspective. If we don't change it, the attitude, then it's never going to change.
Understand that it's not always speaking out for women, but with women, alongside women, because we don't want to reinforce that dominance.
I'm a he for she because I have an awareness. I can't let my daughters or my wife suffer because I didn't do my job. It starts with me.
Really put yourself in somebody's shoes and say, hey, if this was my mother, if this was my sister, if this was my daughter, would I like the way she's being treated? Am I setting the right example for other young men?
If having the discussion about this topic, like that's something that we bring back, like to our neighborhoods, to our communities, to our families, because women are by right, like the pillars of our community. Like there are no men if there are no women.
I'm a he for she for every single survivor that I've ever met, so that they can have even the slightest hope that, a world where these conversations are not needed is, attainable.
I am a he for she.
I am a he for she.
I am a he for she.
We are he for she.
Okay. Thank you. And I see, just a second, I see here, just a second, because there is technical issue. Okay, Yes, now we're at the right slide. So whenever I ask to change, just we need to change at that time. Yes, please. Yes, thank you. Perfect. And okay. So as you saw from that presentation, from the video, these are just like regular men talking for women. It seems like there is no problem with that. And maybe you may question why to devote like 1 hour and a half for this issue. What is the problem? But trust me, this is what we face every day. The problem exists, and on very different levels, like whether you have the summit here locally, whether you travel somewhere else, whether it's Africa, Europe, Asia, whatever country it happens, there is always this segregation, like having different panels for female discussions and very different the rest of the presentation, the rest of the event. So, and very interesting comments in the chat part. So once I'm finished, I'm sure we can discuss it in more details. So the other case study, I will not stay longer here because it's very much similar in terms of the idea, male champions of change. And so it's a global coalition of male CEOs committed to promote gender equality. So what's important about this campaign is that you don't speak about women all the time, okay? So he for she is very straightforward. This one is more about gender equality, because it's not about making men speak for women, because women cannot speak themselves. It's about making men speaking about gender equality of the part which they are as well. Okay, so because when we have this for she discussions, at the same time we get into positive discrimination, and we get lots of comments from men saying that this is also like not the right pace to now to push just a woman agenda. So that's why it's important to use the right wording, and to make sure that men are advocating not just for women, but for gender equality. And I will not go through the details, you can see it here, but over 230 male leaders from 10 countries have signed this MCC initiative. And of course, this project is like one of 100 similar projects of this type. And engaging, why I just added it here, because just to demonstrate that it's possible, it's very realistic to engage with CEOs of the companies and make leaders speak for gender equality. And once you have it, then you will definitely get the amazing results. And okay, can we move to the next slide? Okay, let's stop here, please. So now we discussed a lot, and now let's move to the question how we can involve men, and how we can make maximum out of it. So once I had a meeting at one of the chambers of commerce in Azerbaijan, operating in Azerbaijan. And I came with the ideas of having, with the idea of, just a second, sorry. Yes. And I came to them with the idea of involving private sector into this gender equality work. because as I said, as UNDP, we do a lot on the community level, on the policy level, but still private sector stays away, and private sector is the main engine that can move these things forward, because they are generating money, and money is the best incentive for everyone to be an agent of change. So we decided to involve more men into the discussion, into this topic, and I approached one of the biggest chambers of commerce in Azerbaijan, and it was led by women at that time, and she was like very active and in this women empowerment topics, in gender equality, and etc. And she was kind of fully in and supportive. Of course, it's quite easy to talk to women on this, but later I received a call from the organization asking how she can present this program on private sector partnership to the board of directors, who were like dominated by men, like 90% of them. And she said like that she's not sure if they will accept anything, because like it was like a tense priority at that time. And we had a very long and at some point frustrating conversation, because like we were two women in power, empowered women at least, and we were sitting and thinking what will be the best ways to make this the men accept this initiative, spend their time. We were not talking even about money, and promoting these things. So at the end of the day, we found some solution. She went, she communicated, and etc. But the thing is that the fact of having this conversation was, of course, strange, if not bizarre, because that looks like a very obvious thing, to have gender parity at work, to achieve gender equality in the company. Why would that be a problem? But the problem exists. So so what we agreed is actually, and what we did later with her, it's very much reflects what is written here. So unfortunately, and we have to accept this fact, quite often people organizations design a very aggressive public awareness campaigns on women, which of course backlashes, and which gets negative feedback, because people get tired from the similar messages without clear explanation why everyone can benefit from that. So, and what we also notice, and what I noticed throughout my career, that very often, even like, let's say, men who would normally support women, they are not aware about the gender issues. Like, for example, in Azerbaijan, we have the very high rate of selective abortions. And when I talk about this, like to the men who are active, who have daughters, who are positive, they get very surprised, because they are just not aware about the issues. And this is very normal, because this is not their pain point. They are just like, everyone does this. So whenever you look for something, whenever you read something, you just scroll it, because it's not your personal business. It doesn't touch you as a human being. So that's why you stay unaware. So before moving to very aggressive, let's say, campaign, and very aggressive communication that we also, as I said, we regularly observe, it's very important to collaborate, to establish collaborative mood, and approach people with some educational information. So first of all, men may not be aware about the issue. And this is very normal because this is not something that they personally experience. And of course, we all have cluttered information environment around us. And we may just skip the topics that don't touch us personally. So first of all, make them learn about gender issues and inequality. Make them learn, let them learn, help them to learn, and let them to engage, meaning active listening. So it should be not just not just lectures or not a one-side communication all the time, like as I said, aggressive communication or formal panel discussions. Like for example, it's very usual for innovation ecosystem, because innovation ecosystem is dominated by men, as I mentioned before, and usually there is a big event like some summit, regional event or whatever, and then you just have only one vertical for devoted to women's issues. It's not even mentioned, it's not even called like gender equality, it's called women empowerment, blah blah blah. And then you end up with like 10 people sitting in the room, and five women at the stage talking to each other, perfectly knowing the issue, and no one in the room. So we need to ensure that there is an active listening practices, because so meaning that we need to engage with men, we need to let them comprehend what we say, and provide the feedback. We need to challenge to speak up and to challenge sexist behaviors and language, of course, and just showcase very obviously, very basically, just showcase on each and every experience that this is sexist behavior and this is sexist language. So like I do it regularly at the moment when it happens. So it's very important to engage them, to speak up at the moment when it happens, not afterwards, not like through some not related already to the moment campaigns, but at the right moment. Like for example, we have it. We had this experience a few times in our office, when there is usually in the post-Soviet countries, the 8th of March, the International Women's Day, is celebrated as a women's holiday without any feminist context. It's just a day when you present flowers, I don't know, some cosmetics to women, and this is how you spend the day. But it's and then at this very special day when you have to talk about women's rights, what we get women standing in the room, and one man, the CEO, the top manager, who presents flowers and celebrates women by by using very strange definitions, like you are beautiful, you are nice, you are kind, you are tender, all the words that are super sexist. Actually, this day, the whole day exists to fight this kind of behavior, but at these days we see this behavior at its best, let's say. So it's very important to speak up, and I noticed that as I was speaking up regularly at different situations, specifically at this day, it makes men think. And at some point, CEOs and managers who were part of my team, let's say, who were part of the companies where I worked in organizations, they were kind of started to prepare for those days thoughtfully. They were kind of started to research the topic and etc. Because it's about respect, it's about understanding your colleagues. It's like one of the small examples. And it's very important to empower mentorship programs, like supporting women and gender diverse individuals in the workplace. Usually men are more likely to mentor other men, and in traditional societies, and especially, it's easier men to approach other men to ask for help, and this is how this mentorship mentee relationships usually happen. But it's very important to let men and to advocate for having mentors, because male mentors, sorry, because when you have female mentees and male mentors and you explain the whole process, so you don't have like supervision process, it's not like a mansplaining, it's not it's like it happens in a healthy structured way. This is very important, because then men can pass the knowledge, pass the wisdom, and pass this diverse vision to growing to the women who grow through their career. And this also works in the opposite side as well, because then men learn about women's issue from inside, and then the emotional bonding in a good meaning is created. And then men can much better relate to the women's issue, rather than it's just a official presentation and communication. And you, like, for example, recently I kind of declined a couple of requests to come and speak just for women. I asked to have men in the room as well in the big corporations, because women empowerment, again, is not just something for women, and gender equality is not about women only. And the last slide, please, the next one.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left.
Yes, I know.
You.
We'll finish. Yes. So companies with gender diverse executive teams have a 25% greater financial outperformance. And this was already mentioned. I will not stop on that. So it's very important to understand that gender diversity is beneficial and will is beneficial and will make it's part of everyone's success, not just women, and it can be counted, meaning like it can be transferred into numbers. So it's not about some definitions that we are generally talking about. So if you want to involve men, be very precise. And what is very important, sometimes as an organization already, and as an organization and personally as a communication specialist, I avoid using women empowerment, women's issues, and etc. I more focus on, in our campaigns, on such wording as diversity and inclusion, because diversity and inclusion means everyone's engagement, not just women's issue. Of course, we have to talk about women's issue, but we have to find the most effective ways to do so, rather than just to push back and to conduct same campaigns with the same message for years, because the results, the numbers, the figures demonstrate us that we are really progressing slowly. Because logically, if you do same thing through the same process, you will get to the same result. So something needs to be changed. And the last slide. The last slide, please. Okay. It's not seen well in Russian, but anyways. So achieving gender equality could add 12 trillion to global GDP. So it's really about numbers. It's not just about emotions. And that's why encouraging men to join conversations is super important. So it's all the time what I say when I invite the last personal experience I want to share. So I'm also a TV anchor for Female Factor program, and for me it's very difficult to invite men because usually they say no. I have by today I produced more than 100 TV programs, TV issues, and only like 10% of them were men, like no more than 10 people. And it's very difficult to get them in because they say they still see the whole thing as a competition. So it's very important to get them into conversation and to make them allies, not competitors. So and then in this very in this world of VUCA world, in this world of uncertainty and toughness, the way to gender equality, I believe, lies through collaboration and cooperation, not competition. Thank you, and that's it from my side. I will be now enjoying the comments and your thoughts, and then I can answer questions, share the experience, and etc.
Thank you so much, Leyla, for your invaluable insights and the importance of, the men's active participation in gender equality dialogues, and it cannot be overstated. So I think it's very clear that also that is the importance of diversity and inclusion is also for promotion of gender equality, also for the encouraging men in the discussion, in the dialogue, for promoting gender equality. So before we move into a Q&A session, I would like all of you to open your camera for the photo shoot. So please, everyone, open the camera. And then, Charles, can you please give us a signal for the photo?
Okay, please open your cameras. Okay. On a count of 3, I'll take the photo. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you, Solango.
Thanks. Thank you, Charles. Okay, so now we move on to see a question and answer session. So as we already instructed in the chat box, if you have any questions or insights or feedback on Leyla's discussion, please leave your questions, also feedback in the chat box. We already seen a few comments and also insights also in the chat box. I'm sure that Leyla will be addressing that during this discussion. And if you want to talk, and please raise your hand and open the camera. Also, we can also get the questions, also insights, also through that channel. So please, over to you, Leyla.
Thank you, colleagues. And now I saw this never-ending conversation and two different positions. And comment from Uzbekistan on traditional societies. The thing, yes, indeed, the problem is that, sorry, it's not, I'm not sure if it's from Uzbekistan, but anyways, there was a comment on traditional societies. So that's the reality. So I would love, and this is actually what we were doing for years. We were providing men, we were providing everyone with some issues related, with some tools, materials, issues related to women. But for some reason, we couldn't make men speak and move and let more women into the room. Still, we are in a situation when we are fighting, and we are in a situation when we are fighting. I mean, it's not changing, unfortunately. But what we see and what I see from my personal experience, that when you are collaborating, it brings long-term results rather than when you just fight for some short-term results. So it's very important to win the war than a fight in this war. So that's why strategically it's very important to change the communication. And actually this is like what we are doing. Whenever I say we, I mean both Women in Tech organization and UNDP. We engage more men, and we don't think that this means that we move women away. No, these men are anyways talking about something. They're anyways expressing their position. And instead of having them being negative about women empowerment, it's better to make them ally and let them speak on for us, for women, because this, it's not about giving them more space now to speak. It's about giving them right messages, but engaging with them, not pushing them, because they are in power. So you won't come from down to top and remove someone. So it's never a sustainable decision, and aggression generates aggression. So that's why, also I fully agree that we have to men to speak for women, but we were doing this for many years. But we have to find new ways to collaborate with them.
Yeah, we also have another insights from Tunçime Gastengiril. She says it's a very interesting presentation, and also the role of gender equality works also when it increases men's involvement from experience. For example, in Mongolia, Gender Council of Ministers are headed by men, and Secretary State of Secretaries in general involve them in the training, for example, the capacity building training. So I saw how they are more active and also empowered to talk about gender once they're educated. So that was the insight we got from Tunçime, Mongolia. There is another participant, Anastasia Leer.
I can translate and I can answer.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the question is, thanks to the comments from Mongolia, this is I want to comment on that. So unfortunately, when I invite men to my TV program, they say, please don't call us feminist. And I say, like, I am not going to call you anything. I'm not going to label you, but why you are so afraid of this word? And they say, like, please, anyways, if people will see that I came to your TV program, they will think that I am feminist. And this like something that they think that not a good thing. So this is very important to turn the point and to make them to be honored to speak about women, not to be shy. And okay, and now going back to the comment, just a second, it moved somewhere. Yes, Anastasia Lach, what do you think? What are the solutions? How we can solve the issue of gender inequality faster with education on or awareness raising or other more harsh solutions? How we can help? Honestly, I think it should be a combination. Education is super important. I think we need to start with the from day one, from the childhood, from the kindergartens, because we face the stereotypes, and we see stereotypes and issues even starting from the toys available, right? So usually pink toys like kitchenware and Barbies and everything is related to girls, and the rest is for boys, and like cars and etc. So it's slowly changing, but really slowly. So that's why the communication, unconscious communication with on stereotypes already happens like from day one. So that's why it's very important. It's like everyone's issue. That's why it's very important to change it, like with some tough measures, like for example, change educational materials at school. Because if you open them now, at least yes, our government is also working on this, but really slowly. Like, but if you open it, or if you remember from Soviet times, it's like "Mama myla ramu," right? Mom washing the window, but for some reason it's never dad washing the window, and for dad it was like a dad repairing car. So that's why it's very important to start from the educational institutions. So education is super important. Education was always is important for starting from gender starting from women empowerment, but sorry, it's very important starting from gender violence, domestic violence, and it's so education solves many problems. So of course, education and some tough measures like changing books, providing some quotas for women, because in some situations you have to provide quotas. You just have to make sure that there are women sitting in the room, at least for some decisions that are related to women, so that then we don't have like the room of men deciding on women's body, for example, whether abortion is legal or not. So that's why we need to have a parity, and in some countries, in some situations, parity we can get to parity only with quotas. But I personally, in some situations, I'm against quotas myself. So what is important is to look into each project specifically and find the right solution to each and every situation. So there is no one solution for, there's no signature solution for the problem.
Yeah, Leyla, also we have a question from Dildora Tajibayeva. She's asking if you could share your thoughts and experiences how to get board of directors buy-in incorporating gender diversity and inclusion within company strategy.
Thank you, Dildora. This is the question for me now as well. So I'm literally working on this now. That's why we stopped talking about women empowerment as organization, and we are talking about diversity and inclusion. And you know, when we renamed it, for us, it was much easier to get in companies involved, and even to get sponsorships for this kind of activities. So when you name it differently, it speed up the process. So I literally believe in the power of right communication. So if you approach this as a diversity and inclusion, it might help. This is the first thing I wanted to say. And the second thing are numbers and figures. So you need to with the Excel sheet, not with the presentation, demonstrating how women may contribute to the profit, to the profitability of organization, and it's possible to it's possible to calculate. Sorry, you just need to do this, to do some homework, and then you bring it and you explain. And there are some clear indicators, like for example, women are more loyal, women stay longer in the workplace if they are loyal to the organization, and when you invest into women's development, it stays within the organization, and men change positions faster. Women are not prone to leave the country. So the countries with the brain drain problem, it's also a case for them to consider. So if you use just numbers, that would definitely be more effective. And it's also important to understand what the company is doing. And coming from this experience, you can also generate some more data. Like, for example, if it's a marketing agency, it's important to have women in the creative team, because you may have you may have something, some product, some client, like for example Procter & Gamble, who will ask you to create a commercial for women on like hygiene pads, right? So you definitely need women in organization to provide some valuable insights, and vice versa. Like, for example, now I'm talking about gender and equality, but now I experience the problem in my organization myself, in women in tech, because we have only women in organization, and we literally feel that we lack men's perspective. So I have to take, for example, projects to some close friends, allies, who will go through the concept and provide the insights. Okay, so it's not about just like one-sided feminism, no. So it's very important to have diverse teams. So you can just explain in that way, and then with some clear examples, and then it works much better. Like I saw it many times in my case already.
Okay, we don't have any other insights or questions in the chat box, but if there's any questions or insights you would like to share from the audience, please raise your hands. There's also another one from Leyla. Thank you so much, Leyla. It was very interesting, and also in point of view, also, of course, it's very important for us also to learn for the rural woman, and also it's very important that we have to men engaged in our discussion, not to compete.
Hello, Manzura. Great to see you, and hope to see you one day personally. Thank you for your comment. Yes, definitely. And also, we share in Azerbaijan, we share same problems. I know, like, what do you mean exactly? And, you know, for many years, UN agencies were implementing women empowerment projects in the rural areas, and at some point the research demonstrated that the domestic violence raised because of all these women empowerment projects, because we were engaging men, we were engaging women, and we were not growing the capacity of men. And they were then women empowered, let's say, coming back home, and wanting some changes, not happy with their situation anymore. But men were not ready for that, and men were in power, and those who were bringing, generating income of the family. And then because of this tension, the rates of domestic violence were increasing, actually. So that's why later the strategy was changed, and now men are also engaged in the trainings and in the conversations, because like it's like a families now, it's like family empowerment projects, not just women empowerment projects. That's why definitely for rural areas where there's a more limited educational capacity, it's very important to involve everyone on a very basic level.
Thank you so much, Leyla. And if I see that there is no questions also. There is another insight. Thank you for interesting presentation. This also needs to be supported part of the government policy. I'm Turkish, but now temporarily living and working in Mongolia. Unfortunately, in my country, in Turkey, legislation base is dissolving gradually, and violence through women incredibly increasing. That was the Zirin's comment in the chat box.
Zareen, thank you. I'm from Azerbaijan, so I know what's going on in Turkey. Unfortunately, whatever happens in Turkey usually also, like in some ways, sometimes in good way and in bad way as well, impacts us. And yes, this is the process. I agree. It looks like this now.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so thank you also very much for your insightful and also there's another question.
Yes.
Yeah. So this similar that you mentioned, Leyla, it was done by separately for men and also for women, or it was done all together, men and women? That was the question from Anastasia. Okay.
Altogether. So as I said, like the segregation is not a good idea at all. Yes, for some like hygiene trainings, yes, and sometimes yes, but for that kind of things, no. It was like a family empowerment. That's why both men and women were together, and it gave much a better result.
Okay, so now I see there is no questions and feedback and chat box. Now we move on the closing, and thank you so much, Leyla. It was actually our honor to have you today on our platform. And today's discussion also actually has reminded us, the diversity in perspectives and collaboration across gender lines are essential in breaking down the barriers. So we have explored, how he for she movement can be a powerful force for change when both men and women work together towards a common goal of gender equality. And also, it's very important for us also always remind ourselves that it's really important to forward the ideas shared today, also commit ourselves for creating spaces where all voices are heard and valued. And I also personally very much appreciated for your talk on diversity and inclusion. And so it's very important also for challenge these gender stereotypes, support diversity, also pave the way for the brighter, more inclusive future for everyone. So thank you all for being part of this important conversation. Let's stay engaged and also support one another and keep pushing for progress. Thank you so much.